we won't take too much of her time.
She's with her homegirls. Let me see. All right, let me call my dad. He probably playing golf.
Oh, you play golf?
I don't, but he does.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of friends.
Well, you got two more. It's hard to. Oh, let's see.
What up, man?
Hey, Dad, what's up?
Hey, nothing. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm on this podcast right now, and I got you live on the show right now. You got a second?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My dad like this kind of stuff.
Hey, Dad, how you doing?
Well, I always got time. For my sons.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I appreciate you. My name is Moo, and I have your wonderful son on our podcast. And one of the questions we asked him today was what his superpower was. And we listened to his answer, but now we want to know from your perspective, what is his superpower?
What I think Martellus' superpower is, his imagination, where he can imagine to be anything he want to be, and he make those things come true.
Wow. So his imagination and being able to then deliver on that thing and be the architect of something new and creative.
100%.
Wow. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's a strong one. Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Mama calling me back now.
Oh, we can ask her too.
Yeah, we can ask Mom too.
I'll call her back in a second after your phone dead. What was you doing, Dad?
Oh, I just clean around the house, messing with that pool again.
Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man.
Like that man for 35 years.
Yeah. Okay, Dad. Okay. Yeah, any more questions for
Hey,
him?
appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good talking with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dad, I'll hit you back later.
All right.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Love you too, man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me call my mom back because she's going to be like, you just called me. If I don't call her back, she's going to be...
This will be good. This will be good to get.
To get both perspectives.
Hello?
Hey, Mom, what's up?
Hey, nothing much. What's up?
I'm on this podcast and you live on it right now. They want to ask you a question, if that's cool.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
cool.
Yeah, well, we can all hear you right now, but it won't be long, so I'll just call in you.
There.
Yeah. My mom be like, all right, what you got me on? She's like, what you got going on over there, son? My mom know I'm full of shenanigans.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Sorry to bother you. This is Moo, and your son is on the Less Than 1% podcast, and we asked him a question. We said to him, what is your superpower? And he gave us his answer, and now we want to ask you the same question to see if they match up. So we want to know what is your son's superpower?
Oh, man, it really put me on the spot. Well, I don't know. I would say he has a lot of superpowers.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He has a lot of superpowers. Martellus has a great imagination. He's a great storyteller. And just his creativeness. I don't know. He has many superpowers.
Well, that's perfect.
I'm biased because I'm mom.
No, that's great. That's perfect.
It's true.
That's perfect. That's what Dad said.
Oh, okay. And, anyone that knows Martellus, I think they would agree. He's just a well-rounded, all-around guy. Martellus, you know that. I'm not trying to make your head any bigger than what it is.
No, that's
all right, Mom. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right,
Did you have a good day?
I did. I had a great day. It's one of those busy days. We're getting ready for state testing at work, so I'm running as always.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good to meet you on the phone, at least.
All right, Mom. Love you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. Talk to you later, son.
Right.
Love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Wow.
I see.
Wow.
Yeah, random, right?
Yeah.
That ever happen like that when people say the same thing?
Never. And not only one, both parents.
Both parents.
Yeah. If I call my daughter right now, she'd probably say the same. I bet my daughter would probably say the same thing. I thought about calling her, but I'm like, oh, she in school.
That's awesome. That's all.
That's what I was saying earlier about football. Like, people think that that's who I am, but anyone who knows me knows that the stuff that I do is actually who.
It makes sense because, it takes a lot of imagination to be doing all the things that you're involved with.
I think there's something else, though, that I noticed, and you tell me we all up in your business now.
Yeah.
One thing you hear, so knowing my family and, what my kids have been through, what you go through as a family, you can hear it in the way they communicate with you, the way you all communicate. One of the things you did at the end was, you asked them both if they were okay in different ways.
Yeah.
You did with mom relationship different than dad relationship.
Yeah.
But you just, even though you're doing this thing with us and I appreciate it, you're also, there are several different things that you're finding out just from one conversation.
That's true.
So, I'm just, and I can't even find words because I really appreciate not just you coming on here today, but you really I can see that connection with your family, but also that connection with the world is awesome.
Oh yeah. To go back what you said about imagination, I think athletes who want to play professional sports have to have so much imagination. But I think the problem is that when that dream doesn't come true, it's not the failure, it's that I put all my imagination into this thing. What do I start imagining now? So the process of not making it, the identity is reimagining who you are and what do I want to start using my imagination to work towards now. And the thing is, when it's done, right, a lot of players, when they're done playing anyway, whether you had a great career or you didn't play very long or you didn't make it, they all go through the same thing. Because their imagination is kind of burnt. Because they had to imagine you got to start imagining that dream.
Right, from the beginning.
100, that's
from the
25, that's 20 years of imagination to achieve this one thing.
Yeah, and if that one thing doesn't happen, or if it happened and it's over, what now?
Yes, and it's actively working the imagination. It's no different from if I'm writing a book, right? I got to write the pages, work on it for years and years, but then at least a book going to take 20 years to write. You might want to write another one. But I think the other thing to me is that, I've always been an imaginative kid, person, my entire life. I think the reason why my wife fell in love with me, and she probably would say this too, is because when we met, her father had died not too long before that. And she was putting herself through college, and she had to grow up really, really fast. But when we were together, it was like, hey, you want to go to the theme park? You want to go to the carnival? So for me, I was a place of play in her life where everything else about her life had to be so serious all the time. But when we hung out, it was like, hey, you want to jump on this video game? Hey, let's go bowling, right? You know what I'm saying? I was always trying to we was always playing. We played together a lot. But the play was different, right? It was like, hey, yo, I'm about to order pizza and let's just watch a bunch of movies tonight. We did those things. So we played, and we still do play a lot. I have a playful house. I always say that I'm in charge of the imagination in the house, but I'm in charge of making sure that we're playing things. And my daughter's she's a version of me and her, the same people in a lot of ways. And my wife and my daughters are super creative. Her superpowers is somehow she inherited the same superpowers that I have, except for she has a little more. She's a little more relationship driven. My superpower is more siloed, and then I share it with the world.
Yes.
She's more collaborative in the aspect of she want to draw with a friend. I don't want to draw with nobody. I don't want nobody to even. I edit my own books.
Right.
I don't want no editor. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to change what I'm gonna say. None of that. Don't tell me
your own website.
I'm doing my own. I hired somebody to do the website, but it will never be what I imagine it to be.
Right.
So I had to develop the skills. What that taught me is I need to slow down.
So actually, I think that what I call that is creative control. So it's not necessarily introversion, is that you are unwilling to give up creative control of what you're creating.
100%. Now, there's other stuff I don't want to do. Right? Yeah, you do the taxes, you do that, but once this is my company is more valuable when my head is down. Right? When I'm drawing, that's when I add the most value to the company. When I'm writing, drawing, or doing me working on the website is better for the company because I'm adding more value to the company itself. And I wouldn't even say a company, really the business of me, and I find collaborators along the way. So I run more of an a la carte business, right? I don't always need animators, but if I'm working on animation, I do up to the part where I could communicate exactly what I need to get done. I do the rough animatics and those stuff, and then I bring the animators on. But I like to work with the same people because I don't have to teach them my language.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So like working with the same people allows me to be like, oh, hey man, I got another ending. Like, okay, cool, I'm available. So I work with the same collaborators
Yeah.
along the way. So it's like my company is a company of, 60, 70 people, but 60 or 70 people aren't at my company.
Right.
Right. So, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing next.
Right.
So if I'm building a house, right, then that's my other set of collaborators. But we don't build houses all the time. Otherwise, I just have people on the payroll sitting around waiting for the next time I'm going to build a house.
Right.
So I kind of started build relationships with all these different collaborators, and to work with me is the one thing is about learning how to see the world.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. It's like, okay, I don't want you to be like me necessarily. Well, sometimes I don't want you to do anything but just do the exact same thing I did, whatever. But like a lot of my times is teaching them how I see the world.
So where would be the best? So somebody's listening to this or watching this, and they want to learn more through your creative outlets. Tell me what's out now. What do you want people to go out and listen to, buy?
Yeah.
What are those things? Because I went and bought, Dear Black Boy, because that, to me, that of all the things that I saw, it resonated with me, just raising a boy and, and sort of what I told you about my old selves that, are still in the back of my head. But what would you recommend to the audience to say, like, go get this, go look at this, go watch this?
Well, first I want to go back to a question that you asked me about 45 minutes ago.
Okay,
I've been thinking about it this whole time.
Okay.
I feel like I got to answer. You said what movie, right, is the movie that kind of defines like my life or where I am in life?
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that the whole time while we've been talking. And one of them would be Finding Dory or Little Nemo. And I think the main thing will be the just keep swimming.
Because her mind is constant play.
Yes.
Constant play.
And the whole thing is just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I think about that a lot through life, right? Like if I had to swim through things, right? Like I just keep swimming, you'll get there. So that's something I like that stuck to me in life. And then there's another movie, I don't even know, that I would say that the way I see beauty in the world would be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Hey.
So when I think about the beauty and the essence of the world and like in film, that's kind of like the film. I'm like, man, like that's how I kind of see things float a little bit. Like everything's a little more magical, but it's still practical.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how I see the world. And it's one of my favorite movies because of that. It's like they push it just far enough where they don't have superpowers.
Right.
But it's like they're able to tap into another part of their existence and their brain that allows them to float a little bit higher. And we've seen people do this. We've seen people jump higher than other people.
Yes.
Right. But it's like, like there's so much distraction that we lose a lot of the power that we have of our mind. Like, because we have so many constant frequencies interrupting the frequency of us. And so when I think about those things, those two movies are two that like I see, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon I think is one of the most beautiful films. And they got Kung Fu in it, of course. Yeah. I really like Kung Fu movies.
Yeah, and there's so much in that movie. It's not just
Oh, the whole movie is poetic.
Yeah.
It's just the thing is poetic. Okay, so the other question.
Yeah.
So my new website, I'm telling you, bro, the new website is gonna be so crazy. Like the one that's up right now, but the one I'm building, I've been building it, and everything. It's what I realize is that we start building companies. A lot of time we look at companies that already exist. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You try to I want to be Disney, but then you were like, man, I ain't got the skill set. I don't have the history or the knowledge that Disney had. They've been around for 100 years. You know how much know-how that is? Yeah. Right? And the scale of that know-how, I don't want to manage 200,000 people either. Right. I realize as you get older, like 10 to 15 people is kind of all I really want to work with. Right? I don't want to see, it's a lot. Managing people is a job in itself. I want to have more of a thing where I could see everybody that I'm working with and I could know them. And you know what I'm saying?
So you're saying the website will be the place where people can go and explore.
Yeah, because I realize that everything I do is a product.
Yeah.
right? If I write an essay, that's a product, right? If I make a song, it's a product. If I make a chair, it's a product. If I have a quote, it's a product. But the thing is, all the products, some of these products, I don't think you need to pay for.
Right.
Right? A photo I take is a product. There's people who get paid to take photos. I take beautiful photos, but I never sell the photos.
Right.
Right? But on my website, then you get this curated experience through my imagination. The website is built for you to hang out and you could exit through the gift shop. So e-commerce has just, like the internet has just turned to e-commerce. I'm trying to sell you. But there's not a place where you go in there. Like my type of, it's not built for your phone. It was built to be on your computer or your laptop. I have the type of website that you want to have coffee with. You know what I'm saying? Where you could just get on there, you could read and be like, oh man, this is beautiful.
I've never even heard that before.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
What?
That's unique.
A website that you could have coffee with?
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say that.
I know, that's my first time saying it.
You need to call them and what do they call it? You need to what is it? What am I trying to think of the word?
Coin that?
Yeah, you need to coin that phrase. You need to, because the website that you want to have coffee with.
So think about, like it's like, man, you know, I'm a lot to consume.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so many ideas I have manifested. Yeah. I'm in the business of manufacturing my imagination. Right? Anyone can have an idea. Manufacturing your ideas is something I've been able to do over and over and over again. In this room, we're sitting with thousands and thousands of manufactured imaginations. This chair was someone's imagination, but then this fabric was somebody else's imagination.
Yeah.
Right? The shape of, like all of it, like these mics, the pieces that went in the mic, this is collaboration with millions and millions of humans across the planet. I love that about the world.
Wow.
Like I get on the street, someone thought about designing the streets. Like it's so much imagination that we have barriers of dotted lines in streets that we won't cross over. And when someone crosses over that dotted line, you're like, hey!
Yeah, what are you doing?
It's just a dotted line.
Wow.
Like that, like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, so the whole world is this collaboration. And this whole world was built by the imagination of those that came before us.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what I would say what's happening in the world right now is a crisis of imagination.
Yes.
There's a lack of imagination. And it's because our imagination has become passive through the way that we consume the world.
Yeah.
When you read, your imagination is activated. When you go to art museums, it's activated. Now it's the television, it's the phone, it's this, it's that. Paper, activates the whole body, like writing on paper.
So we describe it in such different ways, but one thing I say this all the time, but it's in my book. The way I was taught in medicine is that you have to be better faster than everybody else gets better, so you don't get worse. And that's just a rat race. That's just constantly being in competition with somebody, watching what they do, and then trying to be better than that. And to me, I think disruption is actually doing things differently, being creative. My goal in life is not being better. My goal in life is pursuing greatness. And that's a very different thing.
100%. That thing that you said, that rat race, has cost me a lot of money business-wise.
Right.
Right, because then I start realizing that, when you have a dream, what you actually want is not the thing, it's the process.
Yes.
Like you want to be waking up early. That's the actual dream. Because you can't want this what you actually want saying is, I want to get up early, I want to stay up late, I want to write, I want to read, I want to grow, I want to do these, I want to work out, I want to be this. The thing, like to get from Houston to Dallas, there's the street. Once I'm here, I'm here. There's no adventure in that.
Yes.
Right? The adventure was the journey to get to the destination. That's the dream.
Right.
I love the process more than I love the object.
Yeah. It's, with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, A.J. Brown had that tweet where he said, after winning the Super Bowl, I thought that this was it. Like this was gonna make me the happiest.
Yeah.
And he just realized that like I'm over it. I miss that grind, that every day I'm working out, working with my teammates. That's where his reward was.
Yes.
And that's what I wrote. I wrote that success is a verb, it's not a noun. Because it's not somewhere you get, it's something you do. Right? And so that's what you're saying is that like the journey, and both my kids going through it right now. You know how it is with this transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I mean, it's so crazy. And I keep telling them both, I tell my daughter, it's the journey, it's how you feel along the way. You know, she went in the ACC championship tournament. She played 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, that was a championship. I said, no, your championship was when you played Florida State. You played 30 minutes and you almost had a triple-double by yourself at 5'5".
Yeah.
You know, she had 5 rebounds, or 6 rebounds, 7 points, and a bunch of assists. But it's so, I think you're 100% that the journey along the way, once you get there, and that's why we see a lot of people, multiple championships, right?
That's when you develop character.
Multiple championships, and they still going back to the grind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You develop character through the process.
Yes.
You find out who I could tell you who a person is by their process of doing the things that they do in life. Like, that's where I figure out, like, if I could look at your process and tell you what you care about.
Yes.
And so I forgot how we got to this thing, but I was gonna say, but like, so like,
we gonna keep talking, and it's gonna be Monday before we know it.
Yeah. I was just like, so like, I like the space. I like the space. I like, also like, we start talking. This is our first time ever talking.
Yeah.
I don't think people know that. Like, this was just one email, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, I'll do it. The brother, I saw it, I looked at it, like, yeah, I go talk to the brother. Let's do it. Like, sign me up. I'll be there. Can you do it this day? You like, yeah, I'll do it. But I think that, like, when we processes, right? And the processes of everything, right? The collaboration of everything, like the processes. And what I was gonna say, this crisis of imagination, that's what I was gonna say, or at least thought I was gonna say at that time. But like, the crisis of imagination is an issue because what that really is the lack of the ability to reimagine who you are.
Yes.
Right? If you stay in an abusive relationship, really it's a crisis of imagination because you can't imagine existing in a world where you're not abused or you don't have to go through this. So it's much easier to stay here because you don't know what's out there. Or is there anything else for you out there?
Right. You can't imagine the possibilities, as 100%. You said earlier.
If I don't like my job, I would just deal with the hate for my job every day because I can't imagine myself finding another job that I could possibly like. I'd rather have the idea that there's something better than me to get me through this pain, better for me to get me through this exhausting pain than to actually quit and go find the next thing.
Wow.
It's like, so this lack of imagination, right? It's a lack of imagination to imagine, like, I think this is why, like, just the presidency. We have a presidency, right, where if you think about the way that we do it, one, don't know how to play with others. I could tell you could look at him and think about the kid that he is on the playground or is just by the way that he plays today.
Right, with others, yeah.
Right, yeah. And then also this lack of imagination for the movement that they have, that they can't imagine a world where they are the minority. Because of what the history is for what they like. It's funny, like, I think, like, white people always think that black people are going to attack them because they know the history of the world, right? Like, there's in leadership, like, oh, they don't want, it's like, hey, we just try, we go, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that lack of imagination, it makes you want to try to shape the world in a different way. But as you grow and becoming more imaginative, you start to see that there's more possibilities in the world for everyone to exist.
I totally agree. Like, I mean, a lot of people who report to me or report to somebody who report to me, right? They have a lack of imagination. What they want to do is they want to curry favor with me as the CEO so that they can move up. And I keep telling people, that's ambition. I say, I don't like ambition because ambition is about your relationship with me and your relationship with the organization and the partnership and all this other stuff. I said, if you are killing it where you're at, and that's how, I mean, I'm sure you were like that, right? No matter where you are, whether it's being a guy who's not built like a basketball player, trying to play basketball, or whether it's not built like a CEO trying to be a CEO. If I just focus on that moment and trying to impact the world, there will be rewards. There will be blessings that come from that.
Right.
But when I look at the goal, if I said, I want to be a CEO, then whatever I'm in, I can't really focus on that because I'm looking at this thing and I don't even really know how to do it. So, go ahead.
I was in Senegal.
Yeah.
And I walk into this space and they have all these masks and sculptures in there that were hand carved, just art. And I'm looking at all this stuff, and I find this crate, and I'm digging through this crate, and I find this figure, this man. He's sitting there, kind of dressed like me. It was my first time I ever saw myself in art. So I bought the piece. But the thing I love most about the piece is that it's like when he was sitting there, it was this sense of contentment, not with where his life is, but being where he is when he was there, while he was there.
Yes.
So a lot of times for me, I think about it now, it's like be where you are when you are where you are, so that then you can get where you want to go when it's time to go where you need to go.
The gift is the present.
Yeah. So if I want to rise in business, then I want to increase my process so that I can increase my productivity.
Yes.
Right. So I want you to notice me because of the product from my process.
Right.
Because what you hire people for to lead a company is their processes. Yeah. Like oh man, I love the way your philosophy. Every coach has a team philosophy. They have a process, but you can't develop that unless you go through all the stages of life. So like being in the mailroom, being in this space, being in this job, and going up allows you to create processes for every single step of the business. So when you do get to the top, you could run the whole thing.
Yes.
You can't skip the process.
So Jordan, I had like all these questions and stuff.
Oh, my bad.
No. Hold on. This is what I'm about to do with this because you are. Listen, your voice, your impact, the way you think, and it's not just creative. And I'm seeing your mind play out even in this podcast, right? The way you even think about things is that less than 1% way. A couple things going back. We're the same because we keep a conversation 45 minutes ago. Yeah. And we're bringing it up now because it's been spinning this whole time. So the one thing you said is that when you read something or when you look at something, the first thing you think is, I disagree with it. Yeah. So like what I think like the tenets of disruptiveness or disruption is first is disagreeable. The second is optimism, right? And they don't live together. People who are disagreeable are not often optimistic, but the optimism comes from what you said, which is envisioning all the possibilities. I don't believe it, so I'm going to work to figure it out. And then I imagine all these possibilities. And the last one is relentlessness, and I will not stop until I achieve greatness. Yeah. That's really fundamentally, I mean, you say it in different ways, but I'm really connected and vibing on the way you perceive the world. It's amazing.
So for me, what you said, for me, the way I coined that is that I don't want to die with potential. I think that's the worst thing that we could possibly do as human beings, is to die with potential. What a terrible way to die, right? Why die full of possibilities? Wow. Right? And I told my wife, I told her last night out the hotel they put me in had popcorn ceilings, and I hate popcorn ceilings. I told my wife last night she wanted to spite me, put popcorn ceilings in my casket. But I also told my wife, I was like, hey, if I go before you when I die, I want you to, I want my tombstone, whatever it is, to say, here lies a man with no more ideas. Oh, wow. ... Oh yeah, one more thing.
Okay, can you say that again, please?
The whole
no, just here dies a man.
Oh yeah. Here lies a man with no more ideas. ... Oh yeah, one more thing. You know what I'm saying? That's like, I was like, God damn, he got another one from beyond the grave. And then I said, the other thing is, my funeral is a movie. Everybody has lines. If anybody wants anything in my will, they got to make this movie, right? Hey, baby, who's alive? Like, if someone died, I change the script along in my life. Like, this is what you got to say. I want the camera pan in from the left. Zoom in. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my baby. Zoom in. Hold it there. Make it a movie. And then have it edited. And then y'all get together and y'all watch it every year on my birthday. Or if y'all want to revisit, don't come to my tombstone, just watch the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but my goal is to die with no more ideas. And sometimes the idea for me is not in my head. I could write it down on paper, and I'm okay with that too. Like, it's like I can't, it's hard to attack every single idea. But my daughter, so I think ambition is something that ruins communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that. But I was telling my daughter, I was like, look, I don't care what you do, but you got to run the company.
Yeah.
If you want to be a lawyer, run the company as a lawyer.
Right.
If you want to do art through the crap, run the business as an artist. But you going, why am I building this thing?
Right.
Right? Like,
But that's a succession plan that you're that's not just about her ambition. What I call ambition, maybe it's a bad definition. My definition of ambition is seeing somebody have something and doing whatever it takes to get that thing. To me,
that makes sense. I can understand that definition.
That's not making the world amazing. Like to me, if you want to be the best, whatever, it's just like, dealing with both my kids at sports. They both play point guard because they're small. You can't be the point guard that you can't watch another point guard and say, I'm going to be that Steph Curry. I'm going to be Steph Curry, or Chris Paul. I'm going to be Chris Paul. You have to identify what are your superheroes' talents.
Yeah.
And then you always have to show them. That's what I tell both my kids. Like, my daughter's really fast. I said, every game, I want to see speed that nobody else has.
Yeah.
Just one time.
Right.
You score 2 points or 30 points. I don't care. If I see that one, so we have this thing that, let's say she missed a layup or somebody steals the ball, she has to chase them down and back tap. Because, she's small. She's not going to be able to jump and do the LeBron block. Back tap. Tap the ball out. That's my Super Bowl right there.
I agree. And piggyback, I know we said this, but I was going to say, a thought that I had while you were saying that is that, like, I think generational wealth is almost like the minimum that you could give. It's like at the bottom. Generational knowledge, they could build it again.
Yes.
And again and again.
Yes.
A lot of times what happens is the great minds in our family die, and there's no way to understand what they were thinking or how they did. So then wherever the family thing is, it dies. So part of the succession plan is the philosophies and the writings and the how-to, right? Not just the wealth of the how-to. Because if I give you the how-to, right, you guys could keep it going and you could build more.
Right.
And that's what I'm interested in, of like, just like in my notebooks, like I have characters that my daughter knows that I might not get to write the story for, but she might have ideas.
Yes.
That's IP.
How to take it to the next level.
She could take it. She might be like, you know what? I just want to go out and I want to license my dad characters to make toys, because he wouldn't do licenses while he was doing it.
Wow.
But I think it's the best thing for the business.
Wow.
She can do that, right? And she could make a living on for the entire family could make a living on that, right? So
the logo, tell me about that.
The face with the
face.
So I have two logos. I've recently switched to brown heart. Okay. Which is my new logo, and it represents this idea of everything I do is with love and imagination. And that's how I sign everything off, with love and imagination. So it's funny because imagination is a word that comes up in my life all the time. Like, I constantly, when people talk to me, it's always
apparently your parents.
My parents, and my mom is the reason why I'm a great writer. So she used to punish me for doing stuff like stealing from the corner store, things like that. But part of the punishment was I used to have to write these papers on what I did. Oh, wow. But then I started, she a teacher. But I enjoyed writing. So, but then the stories became fantastical. I started adding an FBI agent. Yeah. Right. It's like, I crept around the corner and I took the candy bar and I put it in my back pocket. And then Jose came in.
You just
ding, ding. Yeah, I just started 100%. But you can hear my parents. I would sit on the stairs after I turned it in. I had to turn it in to my mom by 9 p.m. or something.
Who's Jose?
Yeah. She would never say any of that. They would sit down there and her and my dad would be laughing.
Oh, wow.
And then it got even crazier because my brother would go down, like in the morning, he'd be like, he'll read the stories. So they were reading my stories. And I like that. I like to be read. Right. So it's like, and the laughter of it was like, even though it was something serious that I got in trouble for, today in school, it's like, I tiptoed down the hallway and slid past the lockers. I would write like that. Instead, my brother would be like, I stole such and such from the thing. And what's this, but I would be these long papers, and my mom would, she would take the time to read them.
Wow.
So she was my first my first audience.
Yeah.
My parents, my family was. But then I was really good at telling stories in the neighborhood. If something happened in the neighborhood, nobody would want anyone to tell a story but me. But oh man, no man, Marty, let him tell a story. Like man, y'all don't give all the details. So it's like I always watch Life. Right. And they talk about the boom boom room. Yeah. That was me. I was the boom boom room in my neighborhood. Like no matter what happened, everyone wanted me to tell a story. Wow. And so I've never not been a storyteller. But the thing about what I was gonna say about this imagination is a muscle, right? Like, you know, I say a parent and a child. Some parents struggle to play with their children, right? Like, you know, to be a dinosaur for a little bit of time. Right. But what it is that they have a hard time being in their children's world because their imagination grows fatigue. So they can only imagine being a dinosaur for 10 to 15 minutes. Right. But to them, it's exhausting.
They try to get back to work.
Or they feel like they've been doing it for a really long time when it's only been 5-10 minutes. Yeah. But to go into that imaginative state is very hard for them because their muscles haven't been worked out. It's like when you go to the gym, you don't run for 2 weeks. Your mile time is 2 weeks slower. Right. You're like, man, I was like, I just did a 7-minute pace and I'm at an 8:45 and I just took 2 weeks off.
Right now, I take that 8:45.
So imagine if you took a lifetime off from imagining.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we get the world to engage and to begin imagining again? How do we make the world a more playful place? And
do you have a?
The logo though, sorry. Yeah. But the logo, with love and imagination. But the logo, what happened was when I first started doing all my work, a lot of the words that would come around, and I would use it too because I didn't know any better, was representation. But I can't do representation. All my work is just a reflection of my life. Right. I do reflection work. Right. Representation can only be done when someone doesn't look like me, try to write a story about someone who is like me. Right. But for me, what I'm writing is my Black experience. I always tell her, I just learned how to draw white people like 2 days ago. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, my imagination is Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't have integration in my imagination. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just you know what I'm saying? So my default is Black kids. Like, I don't think about it as like I'm doing Black kids, but my whole childhood was like, you know, like I saw myself. When I see a story, I want to see myself, like I write from my own life. Which is probably okay. A lot of people do that. I think everybody does that.
You know, if you look at anime, right? I mean, anime is the same thing. You're not necessarily, that's coming out of a culture. They're represented in that culture.
100%. People like it more because it is identifiable to a culture. Right. You know where it came from, and this is what their art is. But when you think about Black art, right? What's the style? Yeah. Who leads the way in, like, if another artist comes up, right, and they be like, oh, he draws like Mr. Tomonoshi. Right. Like, he's like, then you become the propeller of a style. Now, a lot of kids will draw manga. Right. They'll draw Black people. Right. But it'll still look exactly how manga looks. Right. I do banga.
Of course you do.
I do manga. It's blaxploitation and manga mixed together. Blaxploitation is one of my biggest inspirations in my lifetime. So, but when I was doing that, everybody was talking about representation, and they would focus on my characters being Black. Right. And that would become the marketing pitch. There was a
thing on Netflix. I forget what it was. It was a first Black samurai.
Yeah.
You watch it? Yeah. Yo, that's fire.
Oh, so. All right, let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
Got another hour right now.
All right, I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna tell you two things. Yeah. So what I was doing with my characters, so with my brand, and I was building it is, what they didn't see in my characters was their colorful spirits. Right. Who they were, what they represented. I got a girl who chases unicorns in my Unicorn in My Backyard book. Right, this idea of like her being Black is that's the least important thing right now. The most important thing is that she catches unicorns.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that she's actually an innovator because she develops and designs traps. So there's STEM in it, right? So she's designing traps. She's also so you got to look at the character as someone who knows how to problem solve through design thinking, and she's building all these different traps to catch this unicorn. Wow. Right? She's Black. She dresses cool. She lives in a house. I always have 2-parent households in my story. I don't like when people kill off, like, you know. I had dinner with my family at the table. I called both my mom and my dad today, right? You know what I'm saying? They've been married. That's the perspective of childhood I think exists for a lot of people. A lot of people have that, right? Yeah. But when they see my characters, they would be so caught up in them being black that they would just be like, oh, it's a black character, black book.
Yeah, it's not.
And they put it in the black section, when she really should have been in the STEM section.
Yes.
Because although my characters are black, they're for everybody.
Yes.
I want as many people to play in my imagination as possible.
That's
no
amazing.
matter where you are in the world. I want you to play in my imagination. So I started doing the colorful eyes to represent the colorful spirits within every black character that I have in my stories.
Wow.
So that's why that faces the logo, right? It's like, because the eyes are windows to the soul. And if I could show you that these souls and these spirits of these characters are much more than just the color of the skin, it adds more wonder.
Wow.
So wonder and play are a big part of my design ethos, right? And it's a big part of my lifestyle. Like I wander about things all the time. So, and I'm playing while doing it. So
maybe the last thing here, because I know.
I know. I got to back.
Yeah, we got to go. Just one more thing. I want. So I did this. I got to work with Simon Sinek. You know, he's a writer.
Yeah. I met him.
Yeah.
What book he write?
He wrote Infinite Game and then a Why.
So I met him when he wrote Why.
Yeah. So
then I met Phil Jackson right after I talked to Simon
cool.
Sinek. Yeah.
So I went to. I went to his. He has a studio like this in L.A. And he was doing these why statements. So he sat like this across from me, and at the time I really didn't think. I mean, I know what I want to do and the way I want to impact, but I didn't know why. And so he took me through this thing. Man, I was crying, bawling. Cause I'm an emotional dude. Like
me too.
You know, I was crying my eyes out. He kept talking about this, talking about that, laughing, and then he said, "Moo, your why statement is that you inspire people to do the work to be greater than they ever thought they could be."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, at first I want to argue with him because I'm disagreeable.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it and I'm like, wow. So now all the podcast, the book, everything I do, I'm like, okay, my why is to inspire people. When you read the book, you should close the book. You should say, I can be greater than I ever thought I could be, or than anybody else thought I could be.
Mm-hmm.
What's your why? What is your why statement? Have you thought about that? Have you sat down and say, you've told me how you want to impact the world and all these things, but to leave, everybody who's watching this with what your why is, I think, because I have some ideas based on what you say, but I want to hear what you think your why is.
What do you think it is?
I don't want to be wrong and lose the friendship.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
For me, when I hear from you, I think your why is similar into the inspire part. I think you want to inspire people to see the world differently and to enjoy themselves while they do that. Those are the words that come to my mind. I don't know if they're right, but that's
I think that well, my why is kind of selfish.
Okay.
But I would say, like, my why is not even about other people. It's about myself. And I think about it, a big part of it is the liberation of my own imagination. But I think that by following our dreams, we give other people permission to follow their dreams. So I would say that my why is more directed in, my life path is about self-discovery. And then along the way, I share some of the treasures that I have discovered about myself with others so that they may be able to. But
that journey, your journey, just us talking to you for a couple hours, your journey in self-discovery is actually inspiring.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm not
it inspires me.
But what I'm saying, that's not my intentions.
Yeah.
My intentions are to discover who I am. But I think it's inspiring because when someone goes through a path of self-discovery,
I know. Well, I think what you're doing is very difficult. I think what you're doing, it may not be, I shouldn't say difficult, but to explore oneself, to force ourselves to be creative, imaginative, to think of all the possibilities is hard work. It's not easy to sit down and do that.
Oh, it's not, because I would say, okay, but the one thing is, I think that we don't know what to do to discover ourselves.
The word, yes.
I know that for me to discover who I am, I got to be constantly making things.
Yeah.
I share the things I make, but every time I make something, what I'm giving to people is a self-discovery.
Yes.
So it's like I'm sharing myself along the way. It's like, oh man, I've been going through this thing. This is what I discovered here. I want to share this with you. These are some of the best of my discoveries. Right. And so like I say that because like I thought I was building a business for other people, but then I realized I was more doing something for myself. And that changed the way that I looked at my business, the way I structured it, the infrastructure, or whatever it is. What I needed to do is build an infrastructure around me to enable me to have more time for self-discovery.
Wow.
And along that self-discovery, I would make more products because through making is how I discover. So it's like, that's why I say the company is most valuable is when Marty is in Japan for 15 days by himself. And when he comes back, he discovers something, and this is what we get out of it. So I had to change the structure. My structure of business isn't a place, right? It's not this thing. It's the way that I live my life. And I have to give myself more space and more grace to live the life that I am. But then when you try to build a business, you feel like you're supposed to be building this structure, and a business looks like this. Yeah. But my business doesn't look like that. And I just discovered that 2 weeks ago. Like I discovered that in the process of doing my website, because when I did a website, it was my first time getting a full picture of myself. Yeah. Because what I'm putting on the website is all these self-discoveries. And then I'm like, dang, I am who I said I was. Right. But when I have fragmented points, since I'm always in a constant state of creativity, I don't really look back. Right. Because I learned this thing propels me to build the next thing, right? Like everything is practice. This book is practice. Yeah. Right? The next book is going to be better. Yes. Right? It's all practice. I'm just practicing in real time. Yes. It's a game. Like I go have a game, it's boom. I may have a bad game. Right. Right? But that don't mean that I'm a bad person. Right. Right? You know what I'm saying? A book may not do as well as the last book. Right. But that don't mean I'm a bad author. Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I just go, it's the next play mentality.
Everything's iterative. It builds on each other.
Yeah. So I would say that, but then I would say that my deeper why of like when I do think about people, I think about my people a lot. I do think about, I think that like as being a black, I think it's impossible to be a black man and not think about your blackness. Right? I think that one thing that every black American has is a shared experience.
Whether they just met each other or not.
We have a shared experience as black men throughout this world, right? And one thing I think is I am able to write, what if James Baldwin had a chance to just be willy-nilly and write whatever he wanted to write? He didn't have to write about the experience of being black. Yeah. And he had the time to write a Harry Potter.
You'd be Catcher in the Rye or
whatever
it was.
Because of the work that he did, I don't have to write about those things. Right. I could write about wizards and unicorns.
That's awesome.
Right? Like, because I understand what James Baldwin did. I understand, you know, when I look at Octavia Butler or all the people that came before me, Walter D. Myers, and I'm looking at all the work that has been done, it allows me to be like, oh yeah, like I could do my thing as well. And what I think about for myself, what I want for myself is the liberation of my black imagination. And I think the liberation of the black imagination is the next stage of freedom. Right? Like we have a lot of these freedoms, right? Like we go to the schools we want to go to, these things right there. And then of course there's a lot of things we're still fighting for. But I think the next stage for us to grow and change the world is to liberate our black imagination. Like sometimes, you know, you'll talk to somebody and they still don't believe that it's possible because you black. Right. And they black.
Right. Because it's not liberated.
It's not liberated. But
Bob Marley talked about it.
Yeah, so we have to
you have to free that mind. You search for truth. Right.
So the liberation of the black imagination is a big part of my work. But how can I set someone else free if I don't liberate my own imagination? If I'm not free, how can I go free someone else? If Harriet Tubman was a slave, right, how can she help other slaves get free? Right. Now, for me, I might not be able to liberate anyone. I might not be free until I'm done working.
Yeah. But I think maybe to be disagreeable.
Yeah.
I think you do in your pursuit of your own self-exploration and your own imagination and creativity, I think you don't always realize the impact. You mean you don't? I mean,
No, yeah,
and it's not hard to not realize. And I go through this too. Just me having the title I have.
Yeah.
I have people come up to me and say, "You inspired me." I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Other than say, "Yes, I'll take the job."
Yeah.
And they go to me, "You inspire me." So I think that's the part.
True. That's true.
I would say for you that, like me, just in this little bit of time we spent together, a little bit of time I read about you, read what you did, and that in your version of self-exploration, which I didn't really know at the time. I'm like, no, you have more. A lot of what you're doing is actually really inspiring, and you can think. The last thing I say here, because everything is the last thing.
Yeah.
But what I realize is that legacy. I don't care about legacy. People ask me, say, what do you want your legacy to be? I said, I want to do enough in this world that I'm not remembered. Right? Does that make sense? Like, people say, I want to be the first, or, remember so-and-so, or you're talking about so-and-so. If you inspire that next generation of people to be able to do what you did and not constantly refer back to you, that means it's no longer special. I don't want somebody coming in this position and say, it's special, I got it. I want them to say, I got a CEO job, let me go kill it.
Yeah.
As a black person, right? I'm tired of that. I'm tired of.
I understand that.
I want to be,
that.
I don't want to be special. John Thompson talked about the fact that at the time, there were 2 black coaches in the league and they were both doing well. And he said, why do we have to do well? I want the jobs where we don't do well. Those are jobs too. And so for me, I think that's something in my legacy is I'm not looking really to be remembered, but to have such an impact on people that they're able to succeed in places I was unable to.
I could dig that. I would say with that part of legacy. I'm saying no. Like for definition. Me, when I think about my legacy in that context of just thinking about legacy, I think that like I do want to be remembered, but I don't think that I would make stuff if I didn't want to be remembered.
Well, by definition, you're going to be remembered because these are timeless. This is infinite.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I think in a way of, while I like to make things, is this concept of maybe existing in all these different forms. Even like I'm existing as a chair, right? I'm existing as a book. I'm existing as a movie. I'm existing as a pair of pants. Maybe not me, but my imagination
has the manifestation of your imagination will be around forever.
I like that.
Yes,
I ain't gonna lie. I like that. That shit tight. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me would be. If someone be like, oh man, and then it's like, oh man, like. My grandchildren could probably end up going to the store and getting one of the grandpa books. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the idea of that. Now, I don't want to, I never really wanted, I want my characters to be more memorable than me.
Yes, but they're one and the same.
Exactly.
It's going to happen. Like,
so.
we remember Stan Lee.
Right.
Because of all this. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
The superheroes. Yeah. I mean, it just is.
Disney Even now, people think of Apple, they still think of Steve Jobs.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like Tim Cook is doing a good...
He's doing a great job.
Well, he's doing great.
Talking about Tim Cook.
Never once does he be like, he ushered the company into one of the biggest services companies in the world.
Yeah, Tim Cook might in the CEO world have been a better CEO, but Steve is the founder. I mean, he's the best founder, maybe the best founder ever.
Yeah.
Of all founders.
He laid down the groundwork.
But it's not, and then just the idea of what, I mean, he's, Steve Jobs is in the book, him and Wozniak, when they created the company, and the idea that you're going to take something like, this room used to be a computer, and you're going to take this and put it in somebody's hands. That is creative beyond bounds.
My last question for you though is, who's your favorite CEOs?
Oh, my favorite CEO. Wow. My favorite CEO? Oh, I mean, my favorite CEO.
Like you played a sport and it's like, this my
favorite. Okay, this is real. So I haven't met a ton of them, right?
Yeah.
And I read about a lot of them.
Yeah.
My favorite CEOs right now is probably Magic Johnson.
Oh wow.
Magic Johnson is my favorite C. And I'm biased because he wrote the foreword to my book.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But I understand him and what he does in the world and how relentless he is and what he's built. Yeah. I mean, he's doing the renovation at did you know, at the LA airport?
Yeah, no.
I mean, what I'm like, Magic, what you,
when? What,
how is your imagination that doing this lead to you building?
I understand that.
You know, so like, I mean, and the other thing in you, in Magic, it's actually a bias of mine. I'm drawn to these people. When no matter what they've been through, when their positivity and their ability to affect the world is the first and foremost thing in their mind, that like that little girl I met at Prairie View.
Yeah.
Why are you so positive? Yeah. You have every right to be angry and upset in the world. But anyway, so Magic, I'd say Magic.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So, hey man, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
We
yeah, it was good, man.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, I was like, man, really all I've known about you was probably your football career. But now I'm thinking that's like the least cool thing about you.
It is. I try to tell everybody that. All my teammates know that.
Well, that's, you know, I mean, and how this happened, right, too. Justine, right? She, you know, she works for us, and then she sent this, you know, bunch of emails and stuff like this, and she's like, hey, there's somebody that has to be on your podcast, and I'm like, you know, I'm trying to, because I try to, we talked about this. Even though I'm not famous, and I can't get everybody on my podcast, I'm very careful. He knows this. People are like, oh, you need to get, I'm like, no, you gotta have something special. Like if I'm gonna have a brand for this podcast, it can't just be random, you know.
That's right.
Oh, you won this or you did this.
There has to be integrity.
There has to be something there when people listen to it, they're like, damn, Moo, you're bringing some people that are just totally different. And I will say, and I didn't know why Justine said, I actually called her today and thanked her. Yeah. You know, that before you came. But now I have to call her again because
I met her one time.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
So what made you, I mean, just what made you decide to, I mean, you didn't have to do, like, what made you decide to do it? Truthfully.
Oh, man, like, I'm a very supportive guy. Right. And, you know, when I saw a few clips of the conversations that you were having, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, you know, like, and when I see a brother that's building things, right, I'm like, you know, like, if I can help you build it, even if it's just by showing up, right, like having a conversation, like, I mean, what is this, a couple hours out of my day? I'm here. You have the time you want to talk. And anyone that's interested in me, like, enough to be like, hey, I would like to talk to you or have a conversation with you. And I find it to be something that's very compelling. Like, a lot of people...
Appreciate you, man.
Love that.
I don't think that I'm a lot of people's first choice, right? I don't think that a lot of people understand where I belong, so they don't know if I'm a good fit, or if I'm the right person, because I'm very direct and very honest too. Yeah. So I think sometimes it's like, for me, it's much harder for me to get an interview than some of my counterparts. And I'm like, why are they interviewing this guy on this? Like, man, you could put me on David Letterman, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I could go sell, 10,000 books. Selling a book is one of the hardest things you could possibly ever try to do.
Listen, I know we did, let me put this mic away now. Listen, I'm telling you, the thing is,
we're still recording, by the way.
Was that?
Oh, yeah. We're still recording.
Oh, you still want it?
Yeah.
You still want it?
But selling a book is hard, man.
Listen, we're coming up in the elevator. I'm telling you, bro, like, so, the first book I wrote, well, not the first book I wrote, but the first book that I was trying to publish, because I'm a writer, so I've been writing since jump. I was writing since I've been rapping, right? Since I almost got signed by Arista, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's when I started writing.
You sound like you look like you rap like Naughty by Nature did.
Listen, man, I started, you know what I mean? Like, I started like Rakim, and then you go to A&R people and like, we can't sell that, because I grew up in Toronto. So, I'm trying to break in.
Beautiful city.
I'm trying to break in, and now they're like, okay, you need to sound like this. But you talk about Naughty by Nature. By the end, I didn't even know who I was. I was rapping all this stuff.
See, that's why I don't use editors.
Yeah. So anyway,
just tell me if I miss punctuation.
Right. So anyway, I'm coming up, and I told him, I said, the hardest thing in the world. So back to this book. I wrote this first book, Maniacal Fanaticism. It was a work. It took forever for me to write. And then what happened was, I don't know if you get this. So now I'm writing it, I'm editing. And I'm trying to I'm calling all these all these agents, publishers, and I'm trying to sell it, trying to get a book deal. And this book, Less Than 1%, was just like you do with the stories. This book is spinning. Because when you're creative, you have 85 things spinning at the same freaking time.
I think you have to have that.
And it's hard. Sometimes sometimes they're blocked. Sometimes they can't come out. So
well, it's because you got to get the one thing in front of the line out.
yes.
And then the next thing has room to come. Yeah.
No, so man, you're gonna make me like see if you have cameras in my brain. So maniacal fanaticism, I'm editing. And what I realized is that as I was editing, I was taking Less Than 1% and I was putting it into maniacal fanaticism because I didn't want to let it go, because I felt like, man, I want somebody to give me a deal. So I just decide to kill it. I'm like, it's done, it's over. I don't care if it's good or bad, it is done. I wrote Less Than 1% in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Because once I let it go, once I let maniacal fanaticism go, it was like that, it just came out.
Yeah.
Stream of consciousness.
100%. So I don't believe in creative blocks.
Well, right. What you said is correct, is that I had to let that one go.
Yeah, sometimes you got to write the bad stuff to get the good stuff out.
Yes.
I mean, not that the book was bad, but like, so for me, my first book, so like when I first started meeting with publishers years ago, nobody wanted my books. Because I was writing about a young black girl and just her imagination. Like, it was just a power of imagination. That's not what was selling. They wanted books that was focused on self-love.
Right.
And, like, color of her skin and things like that. But I don't really write that. Dear Black Boy is an anomaly in my work.
Right.
Everything else is just fantastical adventures.
Yeah.
Right? And and then one of the things, I wrote this other book that was a collection of short stories, but then the publisher wanted to put my picture of me on the front with a football helmet on it. I was like, damn, I just drew this beautiful cover, and I was like, nah, so I didn't do the deal.
Right.
So after that, what I started my own publishing company.
Yeah.
So I didn't know much about publishing. So I would rip the paper out the book and send it to Hong Kong, where I was getting the books publishing. I like this paper and I like this cover. So I built the book.
Oh, wow.
By going to the library. And I was able to figure out how the ISBN numbers work. I would buy my own ISBN numbers. I would buy that. So my first 5 books, I printed and published myself.
Yeah.
But then I didn't realize that you couldn't get into the bookstores unless you was with one of the major imprints. So then I ran into this issue where I couldn't be in Walmart, I couldn't be in Target, I couldn't do this, so I couldn't really do bulk sales. So then I had to get creative. Yeah. Even my book tour, then we did my whole book tour when I started doing book tours and that. So when I did I sold about, in my lifetime of books, I probably sold like 100 and something thousand books.
Nice.
Through the 5. I averaged about 20,000 something copies per book, but I never had a global
deal
book.
Yeah.
I didn't have distribution.
Yeah.
Like, I had to sell it out the truck. So I got my book at all the black-owned bookstores. I would go to those, and I got mom and pop stores, but they would only buy 4 or 5 books at a time.
Yeah.
And then what I would do is I started doing my readings. I had to be better than everybody else's readings. Like, now my readings, there's animation. There's I'm not weaving in AR technology at the readings and stuff like that. Like, I'm working on all these things to make the reading a better thing. And I was kind of inspired by Tyler Perry, right? Like, if Tyler Perry do, like, the plays, like doing the plays, but it's like, well, every book I could turn into a play. I can't afford to make the movie.
Right.
But I could do active reading that becomes a theatrical show.
Yes.
And that's why I started doing my readings. People like my readings. So people buy tickets to the readings, but there'll be dance, there'll be music. I'll use all my talents that I can do and craft this world so they're immersed in this world for what is like
this is
over an hour experience.
This is so crazy. So what I want to do, I wouldn't say my ultimate dream, but one of the things I want to do is what you're talking about, is actually create fight night for creatives, right? So that right now, right? If you're a rapper, you get Jay on it, and then you got a stream of 6 or 7 artists, underneath Jay, undercards, right? You get Mike Tyson, and then you get a bunch of undercards. Yeah. So my goal is to get creatives. You have the top, Malcolm or whoever, somebody who's a draw for everybody. And then you have a bunch of creatives that are on that card. Mm-hmm. And then you actually build this creative experience for people around that. It's almost like at least elevating people who don't have that following to that next level, right? Because that's what we're struggling with. I mean, you're struggling with it less than I am, but in a way, our voice, the creative voice, like what is it? Spotify. That creative voice, Spotify has changed the game. iTunes has changed the game for music, but there's still not that thing out there for
literature.
Also,
so I think that when just thinking about books and from what I learned, like, so I love books aren't a good business. Let's just start there, right? Nobody wants to read, right? And then you write books for kids of color. We are the lowest performing readers in America. America's illiterate. 50% of America is not up to 4th grade reading level, like 8th grade reading level. America, not black kids or whatever, but but just only 14% of young black boys are up to grade reading level by the 4th grade. 14%. Only 1% graduate high school above proficiency at reading.
Wow.
At reading. You cannot succeed in life if you cannot read. Reading is so powerful that they made it illegal for black people to read because they knew if you could read, then you could find a way to get to where you needed to go.
Right.
They didn't want you to have books. They didn't want you to have education. They try to keep all these things from you, right? So that you couldn't succeed and move forward in life. It matters in healthcare. If you can't, so many people don't get the right healthcare because they can't read the forms. They can't read. They don't know what they're doing. It matters in school. It matters everywhere. You cannot navigate the world without being able to read.
It happened in COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened in COVID.
So the majority of young, black kids, they're not reading.
Yeah.
But then the crazy thing is, of course, America's illiterate because the young black kid that can't read grows up to be a father who can't read, raising another kid that probably won't be able to read because reading is not something that his dad is doing as well.
Right.
So really it's a 15-year cycle in order literacy is. Yeah. But the other thing is the people who can't read, they're embarrassed by the fact that they can't read. But you don't have to be embarrassed. Like, we can help you read. Yeah. Like, let's just because reading is something that you can get better at, no matter what age you are. Yeah. But you can't just, you have to be really intelligent and navigate through life while being able to read and figure shit out.
Yeah.
But we can help you read. You can learn how to read no matter how old you are in life. You could become a better reader. You just need to read. Like, you need to get with people and you got to get past the embarrassment of the failure of the system of not being able to read at some point.
Are you going to LA Book Fair?
If they bring me out there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just think that reading to me is books are windows to the world.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen more of the world through reading than, in fact, I've never had a mentor, never had an advisor, never had a mentor.
Don't get mine.
Hell nah. You tell me I can't do it. So I asked Ed Catmull, founder of Pixar, to be my mentor when I first got into doing animation.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
He didn't have time. He said he had just had twins. It was just a off the cuff thing. Well, I went to there, but now I got a whole TV show at Disney. But what I realized is I didn't actually need a physical mentor. I have what you call divine mentorship. My mentors are the Wright brothers, Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Shigeru Miyamoto. There's Tim Burton. My mentor list is crazy. I can't get these people in person, but the Mississippi Press does this. They do these books where they take every interview from a person from a period of time in their life. Yeah. And it's in a single book. At some point in that book, someone asked them a question that I had for them. Wow. But along the way, I make other discoveries because I'm looking through these books, readings. I got Tim Burton's, I get all these people. Akira Kurosawa, I'll never be able to talk to him, but I love his film. But he did so many interviews, and there's text that he did that's been translated. He could mentor me from the afterlife because of the messages and things that he wrote down. Yeah. It's the same thing. That's legacy, right? He's a mentor. Yeah. I'm not trying to make his work. I'm trying to get into his brain.
Yeah, that's the same thing I did with Bob Marley. I mean, Bob Marley, I consumed Bob Marley, because a lot of the stuff, to your point, I could never, because I'm of Jamaican descent.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You can continue to talk, but let's do a proper close. And then
okay. So what do you want me to say? Just thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We should.
Yeah, I should get on
Are you driving too,
yeah,
right?
I'm driving.
Oh, man, okay.
Yeah.
No, well, listen, I appreciate you coming by. Thank you so much. I don't know why you decided to be on the podcast, but I love that you did.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you. And I feel like you know, I mean, sounds corny, but I feel like our souls are connected. I feel like our ability to impact the world together is connected. So thank you so much for being here, my brother.
Oh man, thank you for having me, man. I think there's nothing, you know, just thinking about health in itself too. Reading is one of the healthiest things you could do for yourself.
Yes.
So,
appreciate you,
thank
man.
you, man. It was good, man. I enjoyed our conversation.
All right. So everybody out there, I want you to, once you finish watching this or listening, go to the website. The new website will be up.
When does it come out?
I think probably what?
Weeks, yeah.
Oh yeah, the website be up. Yeah. Go to the new website, www.tominoshi.com. TOMONOSHI. Tominoshi.com. I'm building this website. Y'all come spend some time with me. Get your coffee. Don't visit it on your phone. Get on your laptop, your iPads, or your computer, your iMacs, wherever it is that you use, your Microsoft. Shout out to Microsoft. And make sure that y'all come to tominoshi.com and go through experience. It's a museum experience. It's a look. It feels like a coffee table book on the internet. So I look forward to y'all. Make sure that you exit through the gift shop. Please exit through the gift shop.
Appreciate you. Less than 1%. All right. Appreciate you. Jordan, appreciate you. Thank you, brother. All right. Bye.